It's a blessing to welcome on Prairie View star and the newest member to the All Southwest Athletics second team, Jawaun Daniels. How you doing, man?
Hey, dog, Zach, what's good, bro?
Pretty good, man. Well, obviously tough loss a couple days ago, but your last year's now in the books. Just kind of take us through this. How's it feeling? And kind of take us through the season a little bit.
Yeah, we played Texas Southern the other day in the semifinals to go to the championship game. Tough one. We lost by 19. We played them twice this year. We had beat them early in the year, but overall, it's been a pretty good season. We went 15-0 up until the last semifinal game, and we it was a tough one. Like the team took it hard because we got a couple seniors. Even though this year don't really count, but it was a tough loss. So overall, we just trying to look to get back, try to bring back the same guys, and do it next year. But to reflect on this year, like this year was it was probably the most difficult year of basketball I ever had to endure. Like for sure, especially with COVID and everything. Like PV, we had 4 shutdowns this year, so we had like a pause in November. We was in the Wade Classic in Louisville. We had a pause in like early January, and we had a pause. We had 3 pauses, and we had a pause in February from February 1st to like February 21st, like a 20-day pause. And we end up coming out of that last pause, and we beat. That's when we beat Texas Southern for the second time at their home. And we really got it rolling. I think we was like 8-0 at that time, or something like 7-0 around there. And we put together like a quick another little 8-9 in a row to end off the season.
And that's a huge thing. I mean, obviously talking to all these guys, we know college basketball, COVID really was not always the easiest thing. You guys had different shutdowns, as you mentioned. Obviously, all the protocols that come with it. How'd you adjust to that? Just what was it like playing throughout a pandemic?
It was tough, man. I ain't gonna lie. Like it was tough. Like honestly, like when we got shut down in January, like we was all because it was like a back to. It was kind of like a back to back pause, like because we just came off the shutdown when we went to the Wade Classic in at Louisville University. We got shut down before we could finish that, so we missed about like 3 games, and then we took a tough loss to Washington State because we didn't have all our guys. It was Cam Mack first game. He just got his way there. We was missing Linnell, Henry, and Faith. So it was just like it was a tough at that time. Those was like key players for our team. So we took a tough loss, and then like I think right after Christmas we went into Christmas break, and then like a game we played Texas Southern. We played one more game, and then we went into another shutdown. So at that time, I think I had saw like an interview. My coach was actually like thinking and considering like shutting it down. So yeah, it was tough. Like,
Now we're gonna get into all this stuff in a little bit, but obviously you have an insane story that we're really gonna get through today. I just kind of want to start this all the way back. You're from Harlem, New York. Kind of take us
yeah.
through that. Just growing up out there, what was life like out there growing up?
Uh, everybody always think like Harlem, New York, like it was pretty rough and everything. But I actually had fun. Like we had something called like in Harlem like the African American Day Parade. Like so I went to that probably like every year up until I was like 13, 14 years old with my aunts and stuff. And it was pretty fun. Like basketball was a big thing growing up, and I didn't really hoop, but I was always into sports. I played football, like, and all the kids locally, like, it's like we all basically grew up together. Like Harlem is like one big family. Like you get what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
so it's kind of like it was fun. Like it was fun growing up in Harlem. I would have never imagined growing up anywhere else. It's like I was a perfect fit for the environment. It was had its ups and downs. Of course, like there's ways you could go, paths you could go down. Like but it's all about getting through it and not really like focusing on distractions and stuff. But Harlem is a beautiful place. Like it's beautiful. Like I love growing up in Harlem.
Ultimately, we know that New York, the boroughs, all that area over there, we know is really where the mecca basketball is. It's really started out there. It's really grown out there. It's really
Exactly.
just, it's kind of
Record.
just grows in the blood. We know that's the thing you guys do out there. Gotta take us to that way. I know the ball first got put in your hands when you're at 12 years old, I believe. When you got that ball, this, what was it like just being in that atmosphere, just being in an environment that really is centered around basketball?
It's crazy because actually, like Billy Bang, a person that really put the ball in my hand was in a wheelchair. So like, but his workouts, like he used to work out this kid named Marion, and Marion was like one of the best. Marion Williams, he was one of like the best kids in like New York City at that time for his age group, and it was just like shit. If he could teach him that, and he in a wheelchair, like so, it just kind of like I fell in love with the grind. Like I don't really, I don't know why, but it's just like it naturally just came. It naturally just came to me like, yo, I want to work. Marion was working out at like 6, 7 in the morning at Riverbank Park with Billy Bang, and Billy was literally in his wheelchair, like acting like a cone, like, and Marion was like, so I was just like, I just fell in love with it. And me and my twin brother, we used to just go every morning to work out, and then everybody know in New York and Harlem, like they have something called like the housing tournament, like where each like project building, like they play each other and stuff like that, and they get like the young kids from the projects to get on the team. So, Billy had this friend Eric, and we played. He was from Mitchell Projects, and it's just so crazy. Isaiah Isaiah Washington, I think he lived in Parkchester. And Eric and them know his family.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was me, Isaiah Washington, my twin brother, Jalen Suba, and a couple other guys. Marion was like a couple of ages older than us. And from then, it's just like I fell in love with basketball. Like Isaiah Washington was definitely like my first person I ever, besides Marion, I ever seen like he's really good at basketball. Like he's tough. Like we was like 11 years old playing 12 and under. And at that time, Milbank was a form too. Like they had Milbank already, but Eric kind of like took Isaiah from Milbank and he came to play with us. So it was like it was good. Like at that time, I didn't realize like the competition and like the intensity, but like it was fun because we always made it to like the championship games, and Isaiah always kind of like like he was always like the focal point, and like and I saw that and I was just like, yo, I want to, like that's what I want. Like I want that kind of attention. Like you know what I'm saying. And he had that at a young age.
Kind of fast forwarding a little bit, but obviously Isaiah, we know he's going on his path. He's playing at high level right now, college basketball. JQ, a lot of these guys we're going to talk about. What's just like looking forward now? You see these guys that you kind of grew up with, you've played with, that you kind of knew from such a young age. What's like seeing all these guys succeed and be able to go out their own route and ultimately live out their dreams of playing college basketball?
It is really crazy. Like it amazes me. Like every day is just like it's God. Like I don't question God at all. Like it's just like it is. It's no words, Zach. Like I swear to God, it's really no words. Like it's really hard to put it into words because it's like I nobody would have ever thought, like, of course Isaiah had his path and JQ had his path and I had my path. So nobody would think, nobody would have ever thought that in 2021, like March Madness, like JQ would be doing what he's doing. Like I went on the run that I went on, like the amazing season Isaiah had. Like nobody would have thought like these three inner city kids would be where we at like right now. Like everybody thought that, like we was like we thought we was like bigger than what we were, and we was just kids going through the process. You get what I'm saying? Like everybody goes through adversity, and we prevail. So, it's just crazy. Like I'm just proud of those guys. Like I really don't got too much to say about it because it's just surprising and it's still going on. Like you know what I'm saying? Like it's still happening to this day. Like JQ, he's getting ready to play on Friday. Like Zay, I think he's going pro now. So me, I'm still in college, like still going through like, this extravagant season I had and like just processing it in and all letting it soak in. So it's still kind of happening, but it's amazing though. It's amazing.
And we see the guys in the NBA. We know how many guys come out from the New York, New Jersey, all that area, obviously prevail. They get to the NBA. There's countless amount of guys all time in the NBA today. How does that kind of come out? Like, why is that such a thing that where New York guys just have that mentality that allows you guys to go pro? Like, what allows you guys to really get that mentality to eventually possibly make the NBA?
Like it's the playground. Like growing up on a playground where you got people, you got older guys trying to kick you off the court, trying to, like take your necks, like you know what I'm saying. So it's just like it's like generations, like. Because I've done it like to a younger kid, like not trying to take their necks, but like, yo, hold on, little bro, you gotta wait your turn. Like this rec right here, that's not for you. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I understood, and then getting that same reaction from a kid, like when I was a kid, I was him, like trying to older kid trying to take my necks. I'm not going for it. So it's kind of like I think it's the playground, like for real. Like I didn't play in the snow, I didn't play in the hail, like all you got a park on damn near like every corner. You know what I'm saying? So in your house, you got a basketball. If you snowed in, like if you're a kid like that, I was from Harlem, like being in the environment I grew up in, you wasn't really like in the house too much trying to play video games. You really wanted to go play basketball. Like I swear, I didn't play basketball in like an inch, 2 inches of snow, like hell, sleet, rain, and flat ball, like just because the playground is just like that's where you get all the love at, like, and you get your toughness at. You get tough on the playground. You know what I'm saying? So the first couple times you might get knocked down, but it's like you want to go back, like you want to get tougher, like so. I really think it got something to do with the playground. And then, the legends, like, they give back. Like Rod Strickland, like Isaiah Whitehead, Steph, like Sebastian, like a lot of those guys, they kept like, once they got to where they was at, like programs like to for kids like me to keep it going, like to keep the generation, like to keep New York City basketball, the Mecca, alive. Like those guys got to the NBA, got to overseas, and they created programs like camps and all that stuff, like for kids to continue to go to. So they got a big part in it too, like to give back.
I had Jose Alvarado on a little bit ago, and he's obviously doing his thing.
That's
But
crazy, yeah. Jose too, like it's crazy.
mm-hmm.
Like yo, Z, like it's all still like going on, like, and it's just crazy because like Jose, like I have a daughter, and before this season, Jose wrote me like, and that's my brother, so he ain't gonna mind me saying, but he was just really like, bro, like how you do it, like he was just like, I don't know how am I getting ready to do this, bro? Like had this whole season, like, and I got my daughter to take care of, like we still in college, like bro, we don't got no money, like, and we was having that conversation. I'm like, oh, bro, like I don't know, bro, like how I dealt with it was just praying, bro, like just staying solid. Like I really disconnected with friends, like not saying like I stopped talking to them, but it was just really like I really had to put myself first, my mental first, and just really lock in on the goal, like, and that was to like have a good season and try to like set myself up for the future. So I just told him, like, you just got to just really block everything out and just focus on your main goal, and everything is gonna fall into place. Like stay prayed up to God, and you're gonna be good. And when I see him cry, and he was like, my daughter and my dad is in the stands, like it's like that was just unbelievable. Like Jose Alvarado got a big chip on the shoulder coming from Queens. Not supposed to be in the ACC is what they said. Like he's not an ACC point guard. He can't shoot. And we see what happened. Like, and no matter he didn't do it in year, they always gonna be critics. He didn't do it in year one. He didn't do it in year two. It took him 4 years. It don't matter how long he took him. That was his process. That was his role, and he got it done. Like he's the champ. He's an ACC champion, defensive player of the year, second team or third team or ACC last year. I think he got third team again this year or second team this year. Like. He had a hell of a career at Georgia Tech, so that's crazy just to talk about Jose. Shout out to him. He had a hell of a season too, and I played with Jose too when I was younger, so it's tough.
And you hear always the guys, stories about playing on the streets. Obviously, it's a lot different than just like typical places across the country. You guys obviously have the park games. You guys are playing more street ball like basketball. What's that like? And like, what do you like more? Do you like the street ball games more? Do you like the organized games, like college type of games, AAU? Like, what was your favorite kind of basketball?
Oh, for sure the street ball, for sure, like for sure the street ball, like, and like that was kind of my crutch going into college, like to be honest, going into JUCO, like because that's all I kind of knew, like, but for sure the street ball, for sure.
I know some guys like Jose have talked about, obviously it's a lot more contact playing street ball than organized games. Did it take you some time to adjust to that, or was there any kind of process of learning how to balance street ball basketball compared to organized professional kind of college like games?
For sure. Like when I got to JUCO, like it was I ain't gonna say it was bad, but I adjusted quick because I had my coach, my freshman year coach, Coach Dawson. He was like a hell of a coach. So like he had like this memos like stay dialed in and like buying in, like so like that was his emphasis from the beginning. Like you get what I'm saying? So all I had to do was kind of like follow his system and his blueprint, and I kind of like I bought in early, but I didn't really like, I was a street ball kid, like for sure. Like I thought everything, and it kind of worked to my advantage because growing up, like I had a handle, but it wasn't like a real tight handle. So I always used to like to run in transition. So that was just one thing. And street ball, like I used to like to get a lot of dunks. So that was one thing that like really worked in my favor when I came to college. Like I had a high high motor, like, and then I came to find out in college, like, you can't teach a motor, like, because looking at, like, actually going through my first year Division I this year, actually playing and looking at, I didn't played against Pac-12s. I didn't played against Sun Belt. Like, I didn't played against these different conferences. My motors has taken me a long way, like, for sure. Like, for sure. You can't teach a motor. Like, that's what I try to preach to young kids. But it wasn't really that much of a hard adjustment, but it was definitely tough, like, because I was more of a street ball type of player for sure.
Who was that guy? Was there a guy maybe in the NBA, college at the time that you once went up against during the street ball games that you just played against and you're like amazed by? You walked away saying that guy's legit. Like, who was some of those best players you went up against playing street ball?
When I was 14 years old, I played unlimited. I played the game of unlimited in Dykeman, and at the time I played against Jeremy Hazel, I think, or Harrell's is like Cabby. He went to Seton Hall. At that time, it was a big name. Who I played with D'Angelo Russell. I played with Terry Rozier. Of course, they was on my Dykeman team with High Bridger label. D'Angelo Russell hit the buzzer beater in Dykeman, and there's a video on YouTube me grabbing him by his neck. Terry Rozier. I played against Montrezl Harrell. Who else? I played against Archie Goodwin. I played against some studs. Mike Poole. I played against some Alex English. Alex English that was at Iona. Tough. I played against I played against some pros. I have some pros been on my team. It's a lot. I can't really think of everybody right now, but I played a lot of pros been through Dykeman. A lot of pros. Oh, Lance Stephenson. Lance, Isaiah Whitehead. Mm-hmm. Of course, you know Isaiah. When I played on Isaiah's team, played on Lance's team, played against both of them. J.R. Smith. It's crazy. It's a long list. Like, Jordan Theodore. He's a pro. I played against a lot of pros. A lot of pros been through Dykeman. Like, they got, once they see this and they see them names and they see the underrated names like Jeremy Hazel, Jordan Theodore, I'm like, oh yeah, some pros been through there. Like, but now for sure, like, I played against, but my biggest was, like, for sure, definitely like Terry Rozier, J.R. Smith, D'Angelo Russell, Lance Stephenson. Is like, damn, like, because those was my games where I really hooped. Like, when those guys came, like, me and D Russ had, I think, like, then they're the same amount of points. And he just hit the buzzer beater, so that was tough.
You gotta kind of take us through that, though. You gotta kind of form that relationship with D'Lo. He's an all-star, incredible point guard. What was that like? Just obviously, this was before his All-Star game, I believe, when he hit that shot. But what was just like playing alongside him? Like, how special was that? Just kind of take us through that experience.
It was just like it was just like, oh, bro, you among stars, like, and it made me realize, because at that time, like, I was kind of like had a little buzz to me too because of like New York versus New York. So I seen like Cairo's the guy that went at D Russ that game. He was on the opposite team. And I said, oh, it was D'Angelo Russell and Isaiah Whitehead on the same team that day. Isaiah Whitehead finished with 33 that night. But it was just like, this was like being a superstar and everybody wanted your position and everybody wanted your spot. Like, not necessarily saying like it was hate, but it's just like this is D'Angelo Russell. So like, just to see like people go at him like that, like, it was almost like I said, like, it was more like I want that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I can handle that like the right way. Like, and like, that's what I want to be. I want to be the man. Like, not saying like the star of a team, but like just I like, it's more of a confidence. Like, you gotta have that confidence in order to like go to the court. Like, a man who says he can and can't is right. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's just more of a confident thing. And D Russ was confident because he came out, he wasn't even really hitting shots, and he kept the same face, same poison all game. And I was just like, that's how I want to be, because, you know, at that time I was going through, like, I was one of those players like I didn't go into mental breakdowns, but like, I'm very I'm a self person. Like, I'm very like closed in. So I will be going through things mentally, but I always got a smile on my face. You get what I'm saying? So nobody would never know, but it'll kind of show in my game. Like, so I was trying to like just like pick his brain, pick his movements and stuff like that. More so of like being excited to play with him. I was definitely trying to learn for sure.
Another guy you mentioned is Lance Stephenson. I'm not sure there's been a guy in NBA history that's been able to balance having fun and being a funny character while also being an elite player at the same time. What
Yeah.
was that like, just being around a guy that we know has probably made you laugh quite a few times, but also we know he's one of the legit players too. How was that just
Lance
like being
is
around
Lance.
him?
Yeah. I didn't see Lance get ejected in Dykeman. I didn't see like Lance. Lance is Lance. Like Lance is just New York for you. Like he's
Hmm.
Brooklyn. He Coney Island. Like he's Brooklyn. Like you know what I'm saying. Like he's Bed-Stuy. He's every part of Brooklyn you could think of. Like all in one. Like he's in New York. He a legend. He's one of the New York legends. Like for real. Like a lot of people look up to Lance Stephenson. Like it was just like playing with Lance. It was just like, and then obviously it was after the Pacers run. Rock and roll was already out and everything at that time. So it was just like this is Lance Stephenson. Like so, it was definitely one of the better days and good times.
What's your favorite memory or funniest moment around him?
um, it'll probably be my funniest moment is probably like when Dykeman was clowning Trey Burke. He played with no socks on. But like being around like I don't know, like I feel like it's crazy because I could tell you, like to be honest, like Terry Rozier, like D Russ and Lance Stephenson, like they kind of was on like assassin night. Like they was trying to they know what it is. So they wasn't really
Mm-hmm.
having too much fun out there because they know you can get caught slipping in Dykeman, like and like you can get embarrassed, you feel me? So it wasn't really no fun moments until like after the game. But like I don't know. Maybe hanging out with Terry Rozier came and he kicked it with me. Like that was kind of fun. Like he chopped it up like with me. We just kind of hung out after the game. Me and him personally, like me, him, his little brother Rozier and Elliot. We just kind of like kicked and chilled and picked his brain. So just kind of like having a conversation and being able to be cool with him and just build a relationship with them guys. I guess that was fun for me.
You mentioned Lance obviously getting ejected at one time. What happened there? Can I take us to that whole story and how that all went down?
He got fouled and he wound up actually like I think he mushed or put somebody. And it was crazy. That was crazy because it was like, bro, you're Lance Stephenson. I think it was like right after he got his money. So like, bro, you're Lance Stephenson, bro. He will sue you, but it was like it was a street kid, like not a kid, but it was a grown up. He wasn't on none of that with Lance, like, but rules is rules. So like, man, as much as they didn't want to, Montrezl Harrell got ejected that game too for something crazy, but that was crazy. They both got ejected that game.
Without that, let's get back into your journey a little bit and kind of head into freshman year for high school. And you're going to school, Brennan Roses, that we know ultimately at the end of the time you have to leave because it's closed down, not eligible for academics. But take us to that transition. Why is the school you originally wanted to go to?
I was playing with Billy one day, and then Fred and Corey just came into we was playing in a Beacon tournament, and Fred and Corey, they was coaching at Bread and Roses, and I guess they got the word about me. I was like 12 years old. I was 13 years old, actually, going into ninth grade. I was like springish, summertime, and they came to see me, and they was just like, yo, we want you to come to school. And at that time, nobody was recruiting me for high school. So I was just like, cool. And I knew Jalen Rose and a couple other kids that I knew around from the way went to that school and had a good year, like great freshman year. Like Jalen had like 3 40-point games. Like he was like PSAL like freshman team. So like he was Shamari Pons was in the PSAL in that league. I know they played Shamari in the off season. So I was just like, yeah, I'll come. And no, like I said, nobody's recruiting me. And we practiced in Brennan Roses, my AAU team at the time for 8th grade. So they'll have practice and we have late practice. They'll have practice right after school. We'll have practice at like 6 p.m. My 8th grade team. And they'll see me and they'll come watch me in practice. And then one day they came to my game. And after like that springish summer, like once like the spring ball was over, they were just like, oh, you're not gonna play 13 under no more. Like your age group, we're gonna put you in 15 under. And I was kind of like they kind of cuffed me the rest of that summer and I was just with them ever since.
At what point did you learn as a failing school? Was that sometime after? Or was that when you're still there? And what was your reaction when you first found out?
Um, I didn't really know too much about, like the academic side of being able to like basketball and everything. Because at that time, like basketball was serious, but I didn't really like. I wasn't really in love with it that much at the time to really look into it as far as like this is something I could go and make money like for in the future. You know what I'm saying? So it was it was after I was seasoned. Like it wasn't even really. It wasn't. It wasn't until like after my freshman year where it was just like the school's getting ready to close down and close. Like I had a good freshman year too. I averaged like 60. We beat Shamari and then I played Shamari. Me and Shamari was in the same class at the time, 2016, and we played each other in Gaucho's gym. He had like 28, but we beat Thomas Jeff by like 25. So then that's when I knew but my coach was letting us know like, yo, he's the number one freshman in the city. Like this is what everybody's saying. Like he's the number one freshman. And at that time, like I probably had like 26 that game. And that's when I started really getting talked about as like a top freshman in the city. But I was, in the street, not in the streets, but I was 1 foot out, 1 foot was approaching out the door though. Mm-hmm. So like I said, basketball wasn't that serious to me at that time.
Then make the transition out to Wadley then, and you also stay there for a little bit, and then you also drop out. You leave after in about January time. Kind of take us to that transition though. Why did you originally decide to transfer to Wadley, and ultimately what led you to decide to leave school?
Because of Michael Crump. Crump definitely, he recruited me there. Rest in peace, God rest his soul. He seen that I wasn't eligible no more at Brandon Roses and that the school would be closing down. So they had like at Watley, they had a credit recovery class. And in the credit recovery class, if I would have did that first semester and recovered my 3 credits I was missing after my freshman year, I would have been eligible. But Crump wound up dying. He wound up passing from like a vein popped in his head after a practice. Like we had practice that Saturday. He died Sunday morning. He didn't wake up. So I kind of just gave up. Like, all right, cool. Crump is not our coach. And then they had like the new intern coach come in, Joe. And he was a good dude. He was a good guy, but I just wasn't. I was kind of like checked out by that time. Like I was like 15. I was just really on some. I was going through a lot of like maturity problems and experiencing and just really trying to do my own thing. And I just after that school year, that was like my 10th grade year. I just really I wasn't feeling it no more. So went to school from like October to December, probably October to November. Then I just stopped going.
And at that point in time, as you said, you kind of were just out of it to a degree. Did you ever see yourself still playing on basketball? Was that something that was even in your mind anymore? Were you still thinking that I still plan on going to
Division I? Crazy because I stopped hooping and I left school, but I never really like quit. Like if it was a game, I was going. And what kept me alive? That like I wasn't working out, but I was going to games still with the elite, and I was dominating. Like I wasn't even working out. Like, and I go, Isaiah called me like, yo, it was really like summer, that summer, like after my sophomore year, I was 15, but we was playing 16 and under everything that summer. Mm-hmm. That summer was when I realized like, not when I realized, but that was the summer where I really transitions to not basketball and not really the best things and making the best decisions. But I had probably the best summer ever for basketball as far as myself. Like I was just dominating everything, like MVP and Hoops in the Sun, housing, we won everything, but I just didn't take basketball serious. So that following year, going into my 11th grade year, I think it was like it was supposed to be like my senior year, like it's pretty much the same thing. Like, but what helped me out was I actually kind of like went to school like the start of my senior year and got some credits and stuff like that. So that kind of helped me out. But then the second semester, it was just like I forgot about it. And I passed my Regents too. So like I still take my Regents. So I had 4 out of 5 Regents. I just didn't have no credit. So it was just like, I don't know. I was just kind of checked out.
And now we're going to get into the second half of high school in a second, but I mentioned earlier, obviously you talked about Isaiah already a little bit earlier, but when did the other Jelly Fam guys come into play? When did JQ, when did all these other guys really start that own relationship? Like when did you start building that bond with those guys?
Jaquay James, he's the CEO, and we grew up like 8 blocks away from each other. He's from 151st. I'm from 159th, so I literally knew him since, if you want to say, basically from out the womb. Like, he went to PS28, I went to PS4. That's on 160th. It's on 155th, so it's 5 blocks away. So, and then he made the transition to Jersey, and then that's when he met, Jawaun and with New Jersey players. And I stayed in the city, so I was still connected with Isaiah and Ja and Isaiah always been cool from Milbank days, and then Ja was cool with Javon and them, and they just clicked up and they made Jelly Fam around the time whenever they made it. But that's when when they made Jelly Fam, I was out of the picture. Like, I wasn't basketball wasn't like, yeah, that wasn't my focus at the time. So, but I was always watching. Like, I think Instagram just had made started, and Jaws, obviously that's Joel Santana, the nephew, so he had it like a little bit more buzz than everybody else did. You know what I'm saying? Because who his uncle was and his dad at the time. So, yeah, I was just keeping up. I wasn't really like into it as far as like basketball wise.
And last one, real quick about JQ. Obviously, he has a unique story where we know he was a top player, goes to Villanova, wasn't obviously the best fit for him. Made the transition out to Alabama. We were kind of just discussing this a little bit ago before we started the interview. But he's obviously exceeding out there as one if not the best six man in the entire country, just won MVP. He's killing it right now. But just take us through seeing his kind of story, his path, and kind of talk about how you've seen through his perspective. And you even put on your story yesterday discussing that. He got a lot of hate. A lot of people thought he was a bust. A lot of people thought he was over. The list goes on. How's it been just seeing him now succeed, find the right fit, and really do what he's accomplishing right now at Alabama?
I seen it firsthand. Like, I was like, I'm the one he told first he was committing to Arizona. I'm the one he told he would be committing from Arizona and going to Villanova. I'm the one when he was going through his problems. I'm the one he was calling. Like, I was there. Me, Q Max is his dad. Like, we got a good relationship. We don't speak every day, but we got that. We got a bond. His mom, like, that's like my second mom. Like, I love her to death. Like, and when I really got into a relationship with JQ when I went to Azad after my senior year at Teaneck. I didn't play that year, so I was thinking about going to prep school. So I went to the year before I played with the players, and obviously, like, we're gonna get into that, but then I got into like my little situation. So I didn't play my senior year, so I wanted to get into. So I was just like, yeah, I want to go prep schools. All I had in my mind was just coming off the year I had at Teaneck was go Division I. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't care what nobody was. Everybody was telling me you got to go JUCO. I didn't care about JUCO. I'm like, nah, I'm going to prep school so I could qualify and go D1. But obviously I couldn't do that. So that's when I met. I mean, I knew Jawaun, of course, already, but that's when I really started to be around his family, his little brother and stuff. And I started to see like how serious they took like basketball, like how basketball was a part of their everyday life. And like Reggie workouts was like the first workouts where like you don't stretch, like just the stretching is running, like we running like 355s before practice and then we stretch. Like, we gotta warm our body up by running and then stretching. So like he kind of like embedded, like I already had the motive, but like working out with them after like coming home from my situation and stuff, he kind of like was embedding like the tools back into me, like, what I'm saying, going to play with Sports U that summer. Like, I was kind of like getting back into my groove, like. So I used to go over to his house a lot, and I used to just, we used to just be talking, and he used to just tell me like how serious basketball was to him and like his process and they, like, I don't know, bro. Like, that kid's story is crazy. Like, that kid could have checked out a long time ago. Like, but he didn't. He stayed. Like, I'm just proud of him, bro. Like, I can't even put it into words. Like, it's just there's some things I can't even talk about because it's just like is his story not even done yet. Like, so I really want him to tell his story more for him. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's a big one. Like, for real. But.
Absolutely.
Yeah, nah, for real though, JQ. I'm definitely proud of him though. He doing his thing, and that's my dog for sure. But it's just crazy. Like I said, his story not done. So you gonna tap up with him and he gonna tell you a lot though for sure. You gonna tap in with him.
Absolutely. And now we're gonna head into your second half of high school, and this is where the career story really starts becoming the story that is why it's so special and unique for you. And before
Yeah.
getting that, I have a story to tell that's gonna change people's lives forever. On your Instagram bio, like take us through why that's such a big kind of quote for you.
Because I just want to like let kids know like you can do it too. Like not saying like you can go down the path that I went down and do it, but like, anytime you have a hiccup in life, like you can get back on your feet and you can do it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever your goal is, like whatever happened, whether it's a tragedy with losing a family member, a loved one, or you know what I'm saying, or you go through going have to go through the system and come home and like transition and lose basically your whole support system and have to build your brand back up. Like just whatever it is, whatever path you go through, whatever wall you come across, you can always go through it. You ain't necessarily gotta go through it. You could climb it. You could take your time, like, you know what I'm saying, and push through. But basically, like, never let nobody tell you that you're finished, like that you're done, that you can't do it, and that you can't change your life around. Because I did it, and I did it fast, and I did it with. I'm not gonna say with nobody. I had a lot of help from my family, my mom, and the ones that still believed in me when I came out of my situation. But it's never too late. Never. Basically, that's the only thing I can say. Really, like it's never too late.
Without a doubt. Well, let's get into this because, as you said, you leave school for a little bit there. What led you to come back there? Because you go back to Wally then for a little bit, and you get enough transfer credits all right, so you're able to transfer out to New Jersey eventually. But
Yeah.
what kind of motivated you? Why you just had to go back to school and be able to get those credits?
I just seen it wasn't no life in the other direction. Like it wasn't. That was just something I wanted to do. Tired of seeing my mom sad. My brother was going through a lot of situations at my twin brother at his time. In and out of juvenile. So I just wanted to make a difference. Like I just and I always had that urge of being the youngest. Even though I'm not really the youngest because I have a twin, but I was the last person born. Just trying to break generational curses. Like I just always had that eager. Like I'm gonna be the one. Like, you know what I'm saying, to take care of everybody. So this perfect time, and I just felt like it was dying out. And if I had any more continuation in that life, like I was gonna end up two places. You feel me? So I just was like, yeah, it's time. I just it's crazy because I played in one game against Lincoln High School. That's Isaiah Whitehead Old School in Rucker Park. First day at Rucker, I had like 20 something, and then after that, everybody just was like, "Yeah, you need to go back to school." And I wanted to play somebody like a grown man 1-on-1 in like our local park with Jacque and his dad. And after the game, they was just like, "Yo, come to Teaneck, like come play with us." Like, and I was just like, "Hell no, like I'm not going to Jersey." Like, and then I end up going to Jersey. Like like Mousy, like Mike Wilson. That's like one of my mentors. He basically like forced it and pushed me to go to Teaneck. Like, nah, you going to Teaneck, like. And child dad, so we wound up going to Teaneck, and the rest is history. Like once I went to Teaneck, it was just I seen a different like how Jersey took basketball and how
Mm-hmm.
it was just pretty much it was kind of over from there. Like it was over once I see how serious those guys was, and then I knew like I seen how much they had a skill set, but a lot of guys ain't have motor. So like I was kind of like a new life. I swear to God, like it was just like I was like a new fresh air to Jersey environment, a new life because they never seen a kid like. And I came out of nowhere too. Like they didn't know exactly who I was. So I came out of nowhere. Teaneck always, and then it's just so happened Teaneck moved from like group 6 to group 3. So now they don't have to go through northeast side and northwest side to get all the way to the States. And then I come in that year and wound up, and we won a state championship and everything that year. So it worked out.
And when you went back to school, was your mindset, I need to get these credits, so I'm going to transfer out to New Jersey? Or was your mindset originally, I want to go play at Wadley and then all the New Jersey opportunities
Yeah, it
arose?
was Joe definitely convinced me that like Watley was the place. Like Watley was like he was gonna take over Crump's position and turn it around. And he had me set up for some credit recovery. Like he did everything he can, and that's why I will always respect Joe. Like for real, like because he did everything he can to like try to like get me to like be eligible the right way and play, to even having me play in the summer league, not even knowing if I was going to stay, because that was the summer I transferred to Teaneck. And that helped me out big time playing in that summer league game. So it was definitely the play. Like, definitely the play. I wasn't thinking about transferring at all. That was nowhere in my mindset.
Now, I know a lot of people might not see it because we see high school basketball today and guys are transferring all the time, especially more of the elite players. It's kind of becoming typical. But there are some areas, and New York's one of them, that guys like to stay closer to home because, as you mentioned earlier, growing up in those environments, obviously it's a lot more family. You guys are a lot closer than a lot of other areas across the country are. So how hard was it for you to really leave where you're growing up, leave your family, your friends, all from New York, all from Harlem, that area, and decide to say, I'm going to go to New Jersey? I mean, it's not too far away, but still, like, take that transition. How hard was that for you?
It was pretty easy because like at that time I wanted it. So it was really like, it was easy. And then especially after I went like the first like couple four ball games, and like I was getting articles written up about me. I loved it. Like I told you, I wanted that attention. So I was just like, I'm never going back to New York. Like, I'm staying in Jersey. Garden State hoops. Like every other day they writing me, and now like I felt like the attention. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, oh yeah, I love this. I'm not going back. So it was pretty easy.
There are a lot of similarities between the kind of guys that come out of there between New Jersey and New York, that kind of dog mentality, that brand of basketball. But there are some differences. So kind of take us through that. What's the difference between a New Jersey and New York player?
Mm, I feel like, just a motor. I feel like more New York kids got more motors because it's like, Jersey kids is way more skilled, for sure. Skilled. They way more skilled and mentally balanced than the New York kids. And mental is a big part of the game. So I feel like the mental and the skill set is a big difference in Jersey and New York basketball, for sure. New York kids is more gritty, more grimy, more, get it out the mud, you know what I'm saying? Big high motors. And, we got mostly, like, the stigma is mostly only the point guards are good at a young age, or, you know what I'm saying, or whatever the case may be. But the big difference is definitely, like, skill set and mindset, for sure. Like, but I feel like we got more of, like, athletic players, more, like, you know what I'm saying, like, more gritty, grimy, high motor players. But they got all the, like, Kyrie Irvings and, you know what I'm saying, like, the Kyrie Irving, and then, like, more, what's a gritty point guard, like Cole Anthony. Like, I'm not comparing them two, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it's more of a grit to Cole's game, like, than Kyrie's game. You know what I'm saying? It's more finesse to Kyrie's game and more of a gritty, like, you know, his game, like Cole Anthony's game. Or say, like, they years apart, but Stephon and Kyrie, like, this is more of a gritty game, Steph and Kai. Like, you know what I'm saying? Even though Kai's originally from the Bronx, born in the Bronx, but moved to Jersey, but he claimed me a Jersey guard, but it's more finesse in Jersey and more just grit and grime in New York.
And as you said, now this is where you blow up. You go to a team that's obviously got a lot of the talent. You kind of already discussed some of those guys, but you go out there and you truly take over the team. You lead them 18 points a game, averaging nearly 11 rebounds, get the double-double, averaging a little over 3 blocks per game. You guys win sectional title. You win North Jersey Player of the Year. Take us through all this. As you said, you kind of get the attention, but you're blowing up. You're producing at a high level. You're just truly playing at night. Like, you're one of the top players out there. What was that time like, and how did you be able to find that inner juice in you? How were you able to kind of break out like that?
To be honest, like, it's kind of more of a regret because I didn't feel it. Like, I never, like, I wish I felt it. Like, I wish I, like, knew what I was doing. Like, but I didn't know. Like, I literally did not know. So, like, I really be regretting. Like, I wish I had, like, more of a feeling. Like, I didn't know, Z. Like, I swear to God, like, I did not know what I was doing, like, at all, until, like, at the end of the year when my situation happened. Like, I did not know, like, that I had that much support. Like, I didn't know, like, what I did was a big thing. Like, I was second team all state. Like, that first team all state was Jagan Mosley, Temple Gibbs. I think that was not Temple Gibbs. It was one of the Gibbs brothers. It was not TJ. He was just at Notre Dame. He just graduated. It was when he went to Seton Hall Prep. One of the Gibbs brothers. I think was it RJ Cole? I think RJ was on that second team with me. Like it was like that first and second team was like tough. Like so to make the second team that and not even knowing like I didn't even know what I was doing. Like for real, like I didn't even know how big that was at all. Like winning the first state championship ever in history, going to the TOC, winning a game in the TOC. Like that was like all of that 2 years in a row. Like all of that was but like on the first year, like to win a game in the TOC, make it to the Final Four, all of that stuff was just it was crazy. Oh, Jameer Harris, St. Pat's. We lost to St. Pat. Jameer Harris and them. Like that was just crazy. Because we lost to RJ and them in the TOC. RJ Cole, Nate, who else? Kane, he went to DePaul that year, I think. Jagan Mosley went to Georgetown, so and we lost in the Final Four, and they went 33-0 that year. St. Anthony's team. So it was kind of I swear I regret it because I just wish I felt it like so. I just wish I could have been able to like really grasp and really like because I didn't know what I was doing.
And now let's kind of get into the whole story part because after that season, then your summer 2016, you're one of 37 guys that end up getting arrested by the NYPD in a gang sweep. Take us through this. It's that whole day. Obviously, that's life altering. That's a huge day for you. How did this all go down? Just take us through that day and what all went down that day.
I kind of got home at a little late that morning, like 2 a.m, and then by like 5 a.m, like I just had like a squad of police, busting down my door with a arrest warrant for me and my twin brother still my twin brother, but we was living together at the time, and like I couldn't believe it because I just had, even though like I said I transitioned from what I was doing, I kind of gave up on basketball and was more into like streets and stuff. So I kind of was just like a whole year like you turned out of that, like so I had both feet like on the right path, like what I'm saying. So when that happened, I was devastated, and I didn't think that they was coming for me. Like obviously, like I said, my brother was going through his troubles, so they went straight to his room, and I was just like, cool, like it's just an arrest warrant for him. Just like I already kind of knew, I'm like, this must be an indictment, but I kind of like I missed it. Like they realized like I playing basketball, I'm trying to change my life, like so. I thought I missed it, and I think I was 17 at the time, and I just remember like him coming back, like Jawaun Daniels, like we got a search and arrest warrant for you too, and I just like I couldn't believe it. Like I didn't even cry. Like I just put my head down and like disappointed. Like I was really disappointed in myself, and I just I wound up going to court. I didn't even go to court that day. I went to court the next day. So just hearing stories about Rikers Island and just hearing all the brutal stories about it, and just straight going from like literally like having the best year of my life. Like I was literally just hanging out with Jawuan and them like 3 days before that. Like I just came from an AU trip with the players, like, and now I'm on Rikers Island, like that. It was just crazy. Like, only thing I kept saying to myself, like when I seen that sign walking around, I was like, I'm on Rikers Island. Like, what the hell did you do? Like, so that was kind of like, and that was probably like the lowest point of my life ever. Like, definitely the lowest point of my life for sure, for sure.
And you mentioned before that you were hanging out with the wrong people, but when did that start? Like, when did you first start getting involved with the streets, getting involved with that whole other aspect, that whole other world?
Pretty much when things started like not really going good at Bread and Roses, like our season got canceled over like a player played while they were suspended from school, not academically suspended, but like Bread and Roses was connected between two schools, my Hall and Bread and Roses. So I went to my Hall, but my Hall students had to play on the Bread and Roses team. But the staff at Bread and Roses is more of a like wild school, and my Hall was kind of structured. And they didn't want the staff at my Hall didn't really like Bread and Roses being able to take the basketball team. So a player from my Hall was suspended from school, but not academically ineligible. So Bread and Roses took it upon as well, like, okay, like that don't have nothing to do with us. Like, he's on Brother Rose's basketball team. He's not suspended academically. He's not academically ineligible. So how is he not? He's perfectly fine. So my whole wound up really calling the PSAL and saying that he wasn't supposed to play. He was suspended. He played, like, and they wound up canceling the 16-0 season. So we beat Lincoln that season, Thomas Jefferson. We was like on our way to Madison Square Garden to play in the finals, but they wound up canceling the season. And Shamari and them won that year too.
And as you're going through this all, when did anyone else really aware of it? Like, when did you first start really getting involved with it, and who else kind of was aware
I
of it?
mean, everybody kind of knew because, like I said, New York is not that small. So, like, everybody kind of already knew. But the type of kid I was, nobody was really trying to, like, sit down and talk to me. Only really my family. Like, nobody really wanted to deal with me at that time because I wasn't really trying to hit nobody. I was just going through my own personal problems. So, yeah.
And at those times, did you ever kind of feel that it was wrong? Did you ever think that that's something you wanted to change?
Not for sure. I always had, like, basketball was always, like, because I was still going to basketball games. I never stopped. I just wasn't going to school and stuff. And it's when the summer came, so I was hooping. So it was like it was just like that's what kept me going. Like, literally summer basketball. If we didn't have, like, Dykeman and we didn't have, like, all of those, like, Rucker and everything, it probably would have been over for me because, like, once the summer came, I was just like, I'm not gonna stop hooping. I'm still hooping in the summertime. You know what I'm saying? It was really the winter when things got boring and stuff like that, where I ain't have time to do nothing but adapt to, like, negative stuff. And yeah, but I never I never kind of, like, all the way was checked out mentally. Like, I kind of had, like, a strong mentality. So, like, playing in them games, like, I would always think, like, bro, you can be doing this, bro. Like, what are you doing dumb shit for? Like, so that was always on the back of my mind, like, for sure.
At what point in your life would you say you were most involved in that and really were the most kind of set on going to street life?
Probably, like, my 10th and 11th grade year for sure. Like, once I left Brandon Roses and went to Watley, like, those 2.5 years, like, from 8th grade, like, really, because, like, I didn't start hooping in 8th grade. So when I started hooping in 8th grade, I was already kind of like, I wasn't a small 13-year-old. Like, I was outside. Like, I was like 6'1", 6'2". So I was kind of like outside. Then once I went to high school, Brandon Roses in the middle of Harlem, and I met my friends freshman year. That's when it really, like, started, like, transitioning. And then, like, I wasn't academically ineligible my freshman year because it was my freshman year. So I was able to play. So I was still hooping, but I was kind of getting involved in that life. And that's when it started, like, really taking the toll. So probably, like, my freshman and my junior year, those 3 years, really, like, I was real deep in. And then I don't know, like, basketball saved me for real, for real.
And we know that as a basketball player, though, obviously you guys are always in the gym. You're working on your craft nonstop. How were you able to balance both lives and be able to still produce at the court and still be involved with the other stuff?
I never work out, to be honest. Like, I would just show up to games, like, and I always did, like, never skill workouts. Like, I always conditioned. I don't, like, that was funny, like, because, like, Corey, like, and Fred, those, like, my mentors, like, they always try to keep me in the gym. So, like, we'll always do, like, I was doing, like, weight ball workouts, medicine ball workouts, suicides and stuff like that. I wasn't really doing too much working out. Like, and like I said, I was just showing up to games. Like, I was, we had housing still. I was 16, 15, 14 at that time, 14, 15, 16 at that time, 17. So for a little bit, but so it was more of, like, staying engaged. Like, oh, this tournament is over, housing is over. All right, cool. You got four ball. Four ball is over. You got this tournament. So that's how I stayed engaged, not really necessarily going to the gym. I was just playing the basketball games.
And we know that this is something that not a lot of people can always comprehend and understand because you said, obviously, you're in middle school, 8th grade, and as a freshman, you're still, like you said, 14, 15, 16, still a kid. Getting involved with all this stuff, obviously, like, how, if you're a kid, like, what's your advice to the guys that go through the same situation? How do you stay out of that? And how do you deal with that at such a young age, possibly going down the wrong path that early on?
Just listen to the people you don't want to listen to. And I know that's probably like they probably if they listen and that's probably they too young and that's probably gonna go over their head. But don't listen to the people that like you because the people that like you is only gonna tell you the stuff that they want you to hear. You get what I'm saying? You gotta take criticism from everybody. You gotta listen to the people, listen to the ones that love you. The ones that like you, they just want to see you do stuff that can benefit them. The ones that really love you and that the ones that that see this bigger picture and see the good in you, they're gonna criticize you, and you might not always like it, but it's just like you don't shoot the messenger. Like he don't mean no harm, and that's basically what it was with my whole life. I always had people telling me things, telling me the right stuff, but I just never listened. Like, and then once I got to an age where I stopped, like being like I was around people that was like diminishing my like they was just diminishing my value to basketball. Like it was just like I being around him is not helping me. Being around this person is actually like keeping me in the gym, and over here I'm not doing anything but stuff that's like messing with my body and not and that's not it, and that's not how I want to feel and how I want to be, and that's not making my mom happy. And my mom don't even really like this person, but she likes this kid. Like she likes him because he hoops and he's in the gym, and this is kind of like this made me feel good. Like my body feels good after I do this. Like so, there's it was kind of more of that too. Like and just you gotta. I don't know, man. You just gotta listen to your parents too. Like that was a big thing. You know, I only got my mom, so that at an early age, raising three boys, like
Mhm.
I'm not gonna say we was on our own, but my mom was out the house at 5 in the morning. She's working until 3 p.m. So I really got my whole day to myself, like where my older brothers getting me up, and then I'm figuring it out for the rest of the day with myself. I got time on my hands, like you know what I'm saying. Like some days I don't even got to go to school,
Mhm.
so since my mom is not there, so I'm staying home. So definitely listening to your parents is another thing, but most importantly, is just basically like not listening to the not really trying to listen always to the people that like you and that wanna tell you things that you want to hear, but listen sometimes to the people that love you and want to see you do good and criticize you. For real.
And that's a tough part too. I mean, growing up, anyone that has family, especially brothers, you guys know that you always want to be together. You guys always want to be close. Kind of copy kind of live the same life you guys want to live. And you mentioned obviously he was going down the wrong path too. How hard was that for you to kind of push away from that and kind of go down the right path? And it's kind of having that also in your life. Like, how'd you deal with that?
Like it's crazy because it was like I felt like that's what kept me estranged in it for so long because my brother was way more 10 toes in it than me. So it was just like and I was stronger than him mentally. My brother's like a real hothead. So like most of the time, like I didn't even want to like sometimes, bro, I was like so out of it, I just knew like she was just it was not like I should there's nothing past outside in 12 o'clock. But it's just like I gotta be with my brother, like you feel me? Cause at any morning time, like he'd do something crazy and it's like I was more so like his savior, like that. Like, you know, I couldn't help him too much. Obviously, you know, he's locked up right now, but it was just like it was really for him. Like I'm trying to pull him out of it too. Like, oh, bro, like this is stupid, bro. Like you feel me? Like, but it was just too late.
And then I just talked about you have your breakout year, and then obviously it's that summer when you get arrested and everything goes down. Were you still involved with that at that point, or once you moved to New Jersey, was that kind
Nah,
of the end
like
of it
I
all?
actually got arrested for things like for like two. I got arrested in 2016, and most of the stuff I got arrested for was like 2014, 2015 stuff. So like it was like a 2 year built up indictment. So like I didn't get, I wasn't arrested for any prior things. That's what kind of like that's what helped me out big time. Like with my case, like when I got my lawyer and everything, like he was able to present to them, like, listen, he hasn't been in trouble for over a year. I never got arrested in my life. So it was like really like they had, what the indictment, like they was watching me. So they knew I was involved in certain stuff that I wasn't supposed to be involved in. And I was a minor at the time, like I said, like 14, 15, 16. So I was able to use like like a youth offender. So that's how that ended up.
And that's where you kind of talk about it. It was shocking to you because you've changed your life now. The past year now, you've been
Yeah,
free of all that. You've been just working
like
the court. You've been away from this whole atmosphere. You're not even in New York anymore. How shocking was that to you when that all happened then?
It was very shocking. Like it was like I was surprised, like, and it's just so cruel because New York, like the police, the DA and stuff that had kind of arrested me, like they was happy, like they was like ruining my career, like they was like literally laughing when I was walking through the precinct, like clapping and stuff, like, oh, we got the basketball star, like, and it's so crazy because like my co-defendants was like, yeah, y'all got the wrong person, like they was screaming in the precinct, like we'll take all the time, just let them go, but it don't work like that, like so. That was definitely a tough time.
You're ultimately charged with gang assault and also criminal possession of a weapon. You said you go to Rikers Island, which is one of the places that's known as one of the most harsh places in prisons.
Number one, that's the number one notorious jail in the country to this day, still ranked number one notorious. Not a game
And so
at all.
you get put out there, and as you said, you're still 17. You eventually turn 18 while you're in there. But how was that 74 days out there in there? What was that like?
It was just survival. Like I don't really want to get too deep into like what it really was like in there, but it was just really like it was just survival, man. Like I'm not like a blood or a crip anything, so I didn't really have to deal with any gang like problems like in there, like as far as like color wise and all of that. Like I didn't like even when I was like I was never like in that type of situation. So it was like so that was kind of like so I was with people that wasn't like Bloods or Crips or like extreme gangsters, like, or however you want to put it, but it was just like it was adolescence because I was 17, so I'm with young kids still trying to figure it. Like basically, like we're not adults. Like I'm basically with a bunch of young kids. Like so, it was tough. Like people were still trying to figure themselves out. You know what I'm saying? Like it's 16 to 17-year-old kids together. Like, and it was just survival of the fittest, really. Like, and just thank God. Like my mom got a lawyer within a couple weeks. He set up a bail application within a couple months, and I was able to come home and finish out my senior year.
And I know the adjustment period of being in any kind of jail situation, especially somewhere like that, and coming out just living in life again, back day-to-day kind of life, that's not an easy transition for anybody. How did you get used to that?
It was weird because I didn't even know how to use a phone. I forgot how money looked. Like it was really weird. Like for real. Like it was like when I felt like a $20 bill for the first time, I'm like, damn, this how 20 feel. Like so it was pretty weird. But after like a week, I'm not even gonna say after a week because I came home on a Thursday and I played at ISA on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
So with Northeast basketball, and I had like 25. So it was kind of like that transition. It happened pretty quick, but like just the feel, the touch, like I touched money. I'm like, damn, like I had an iPhone. Like I think it was like the 6 or the 6 Plus, and I'm like, this is big as hell. Like, so it was kind of weird.
I know we've heard many different basketball players, Allen Iverson, some of the name, but there's just countless guys that have gone through the system, have gone through different stuff growing up, ultimately changed your life. And we kind of discussed, I mean, you were already kind of changing your life prior to this all happening. But those
Yeah.
74 days in there, what were you kind of thinking? Like, what was your mindset? Were you bettering yourself? Like, what were you thinking? How'd you, like, what was kind of maybe a benefit that you got out of that? Just kind of thinking by yourself for 74 days.
Definitely just reflecting on like my past and life and just seeing who was really there for me, who really wasn't. Like even though I got myself into the situation, so I didn't expect anyone to be there for me, but it was more so of just realizing like when you go through a situation like this, not everybody's gonna be in your corner. So just making sure I learn from my mistake and just trying to stay in shape. I was still playing basketball because I always knew I was going to, like, I always had the mindset that I was going to come home and get right back to basketball, even though, like, I was charged with some serious stuff. But just really working on my mental and staying connected with my family and the people that really cared. Like, that was really the only thing I was worried about and trying to get home.
You get out there and you obviously don't play basketball then, what was your senior year technically. You end up graduating though, so you get that degree. Take us through just that. I mean, that's just an achievement, that's an accomplishment alone, just graduating high school. What was that like, just going out there and being able to eventually graduate from high school?
It was a blessing that I was able to finish my senior year. Like I was blessed. Like I couldn't be more happy. And I was able to go to junior college after that. So that was even more blessing. And you know, it, that made my mom real happy when I graduated high school. Like she was happier than ever because she didn't think I would grad, and I graduated not on time. I did an extra year, but like it was more so like Jersey required certain amount of credits in New York, so it was more of a do a extra year anyways. And then I got denied to play my fifth year anyways because I was based like a liability because of my case, so I couldn't even play. So that was a big accomplishment. Like it was just like a relief. Like, okay, cool. Now I could go to the next chapter. Like I felt like once I graduated high school, I could literally leave everything behind me. Like it's like no more. It's just like a new chapter in my life. Like I'm graduating from all of that. Like literally, that's how I felt. Like I'm not only graduating from school, but I'm graduating from everything before 18 years old.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of flipped that mindset because right now, obviously, we know you're a basketball player, and at that point in time, you don't have any offers yet. At that point in time, you're not going in Division One. You're not committed, nothing like that yet. So you go out there, we could discuss kind of the Dykeman. You did a lot of that stuff, and that's what got you some more buzz going again. And ultimately, you said you end up going the JUCO route. Take us through that though, because you said earlier that that wasn't something you eventually wanted to go down. You didn't really want to go JUCO. You wanted D1 right away. How'd you accept that, and what led you to ultimately going the JUCO route?
I had to accept that pretty quick because at that time I had no choice. Like I was signed to Pratt Community College, but then when I went to Pratt Community College, I wasn't officially on like my YO probation yet. So when you Google my name, like my stuff is still like kind of pop up. Like, and so when I literally flew all the way to Kansas, I still remember August 23rd, 2017. I flew all the way to Kansas, and the coach, the athletic director was just like, we can't take him. And I was already signed and everything. So I literally had to fly back down on August 24th. And I'm on the plane. I got no school, no anything. And I just make a post, like literally talking about it, like, yo, I just graduated from high school. This is crazy. Like in New York just had finished at the time. So John Wall, G Herbo, those guys like was catching those. They started seeing me like, I guess like mixtapes, like high school mixtapes and stuff like that just started getting popping like that. So I had a couple from Dykeman and I was posting those. So like a lot of celebrities started following me, and I had made a post and Mo Bamba shared it. Like a lot of people started sharing it. Like I was just like, I'm doing everything I can to try to change. Like I came all the way to Kansas and they saying they can't take me. And literally by the time I landed, like I had like 6 scholarship offers, like from different schools. Like, so that was like the craziest shit ever. Like I was just like, no way. Like, Jawuan, this is such and such from Howard University. I'm not university, from Howard Community College. And it just worked out because my friend Michael Laster was at Central Georgia Tech and it was his sophomore year. And I think he just had won like freshman of the year or something like that. So they was like, yo, you could go to Atlanta right now. They want to fly you down. You can go. And I went to Atlanta, and then the rest was history after that. Freshman team, second team of GCAA, beat Georgia Highlands. They just came off a three-peat. So winning 4 years in the last 5 years, going to nationals. Central Georgia Tech never ever been to nationals. Same situation like Teaneck High School, never won a state championship. I went there, second leading scorer, 13 points, 4.5 rebounds a game, behind Michael Laster, the only returner on the team, sophomore. Yeah, and went to nationals and performed the nationals too. Had like 15 in the national game against Bob Huggins. It was everybody there. So JUCO, I had a good freshman year at JUCO, but at that time, like I was still more of a street ball player. Like
Mm-hmm.
I knew how to play basketball, but I wasn't a complete basketball player. I wanted to do everything. I wanted to still try to be a point guard, try to be a shooting guard, small forward, power forward, and it wasn't really into my sophomore year at junior college with Coach Bucket when I left Central Georgia Tech because my coach literally told me like, me keeping you here is like that's selfish. Like I'll be holding you back because this conference don't get that much exposure, and Panola, Odessa, Hutchinson, top JUCOs in the country have called me about you. So like, we want you to go. And like, we cried together. Like, I'm literally crying with my coach Mincy, like crying because I didn't want to leave. Like, but it was like the best thing to do. And I wound up going to Odessa.
And this is something that's awesome because I'm really a huge advocate and fan of JUCO route, if that's obviously what God's got in store for guys, because so many people obviously don't look at it as that high or whatever they might think about it. But those that truly know basketball know how many guys come out of there, not just to college, become great college players, are now making that jump to NBA. Some straight out of there. We saw Jay Scrubb now last year. But what's this JUCO world like? I mean, it's a different breed. I mean, you kind of already had that dog mentality, but you kind of get that dog mentality. Everyone in there is kind of fighting for their chance to continue playing this game. You know, it could be your final 2 years if you don't make it out. What's this JUCO level like? What goes through your mind? What's JUCO basketball like?
See, JUCO is, bro. JUCO is literally like probably the definition of make or break. Like, you could either be, there's only one way to come out. You can't come out in between. Like, you're either gonna come out made or you're gonna come out broken. I seen JUCO break people. I seen JUCO make people. Obviously, like me, James Reese, that's at University of North Texas. They just beat Western Kentucky. We played on the same team at Odessa. That's my best friend. Like, and I seen it break people. You know, of course, obviously, I'm not gonna name names of people who did that. I seen that didn't survive JUCO, but I seen a lot of people not survive. Like, you know what I'm saying? So like, JUCO tough, Zach. I ain't gonna lie. Not everybody could go to JUCO. Like, it's just if you willing to eat peanut butter and jelly and cup of noodles for dinner, like, you got to be willing to wake up 5, 6 in the morning, run the sprint, like 2-a-day practices. Like, you got to be willing to do just the impossible to get the way you want. Like, fights with your teammates, like, not necessarily your teammates. Like, it's like, yeah, you love your teammates. Like, it's so crazy because you love your teammates, right? But y'all all fighting for the same thing. So it's kind of a, like, not a jealousy, but it's kind of a, like, all right, cool. Like, I can't get too comfortable. You get what I'm saying? Like, and that's what makes JUCO tough, because it's like you competing with your brothers, like, because y'all all trying to get to the next level. Mm-hmm. And that, it's tough.
And coming out of there, then you had a pretty solid career, but you obviously come out and you don't necessarily get the scholarship. You decided to walk on. We're at Prairie View right now. Discuss this whole process. Like
coming out last year, I was on my scholarship. They gave me a scholarship until I got hurt. Like, when I got hurt at practice at UCF. We were supposed to play UCF, and in practice I wound up like twisting my ankle, getting a high ankle sprain. And then I sat 4 games, came back. Central Arkansas, I wound up spraining the same ankle again, and then that's when I ultimately like tore a ligament and decided to like redshirt.
Why was Prairie View the school you want to choose? Was that just like kind of gets to the fit? Why was that the school you ultimately want to go to?
As an HBCU, and at the time, like, I had my the probation thing, like, for my youth offender. So, you know, that's when, like, I had offers from Iona, I had St. Peter's, I had Little Rock, Arkansas. You know, I'm an honest guy, so when it came down to me making a decision, I had to let them know. So, you know, if I come, I have to be on like this monetary probation thing, and that's when they was kind of like, yeah, all right, cool, let's get back to our AD. We still want you. And then nobody never called back. And like the only school that really called back was Prairie View. So Coach Wendell Moore, he was just like, hey, I don't care about any of that. As long as you come here, we don't see any signs of it. Like, obviously we know that was when you was almost 4 or 5 years ago, when you was 15. It was like 6 years ago, because you got arrested for stuff that happened years prior. So we know that you're a changed person. We just want you to come here and hoop. And then, like I said, I wound up getting hurt. So that year was kind of like not a bad year, but it was a learning experience. Like, me getting hurt was probably the best thing that ever happened to me.
Really cool thing I'll touch up on off that real quick. One of them is, you also just mentioned that obviously is something that kind of lingers with you. You have to tell coaches, you tell people about the situation. How have you seen like affect your day-to-day life? And is this something you think that, like, I mean, just kind of just how did that affect you when you hear the coaches, obviously you kind of see that they kind of lean away from you when they see that? Like, what's your thoughts on that? Just kind of take us through that.
At the time, I kind of accepted it because that's when I really started to understand politics and basketball. So like, I kind of accepted it. Like, and I only had like a year left, so I was just like, I always had the mindset of I'm gonna just get through this year. Once I get off of it, blow up, and they're gonna and go further with this. But I wasn't trying. I wasn't gonna hide it. That was one thing I wasn't gonna do because I wasn't gonna lie and then get into a situation where I get, like messed up at a school, you know what I'm saying? So I was pretty much just telling the truth, and it didn't work out in my favor. But then again, I feel like it did work out in my favor because I ended up here, and then look at the season I had last year. Of course, there was a lot of doubts because I got hurt, so I was kind of like mentally going through it. But it's God's plan. Like I wound up coming back. They took me off a scholarship. They had my coach had other scholarships for me. He told me it was 18 people on the board in the beginning of the season in 2020, and I wasn't one of them. I wasn't even on the board. And he was just saying, if you're going to come back, you got to work. And I came back, and, some guys opted out because of COVID. Some guys ain't making it. And I wound up, leading the team in points and rebounding as a walk-on. 15-5, though. I'm going to Google that, though, after this interview and see, who's the last college walk-on to average 15-5 in the whole college game season. Because I feel like that's pretty tough. So, I got through it, and I'm not really tripping on it no more. I'm not on probation anymore. I ain't monitored no more. So, it was affecting my everyday life because a lot of people still, it was I'm on, at the end of the day, he's still on probation. So we don't really want to, he's not really done with the situation yet. But now, that's another reason why I was able to and willing to do this interview because I'm not on probation anymore. Any of that, that stuff. I was 17. I'm 22 years old, and I got indicted for stuff when I was 15. So that's literally 7 years ago. So it's kind of literally all the way back there. So I don't even really care. It don't really kind of affect me anymore. It kind of gives me a positive now because, like I said, obviously guys like you, other people around the world, they're realizing and they starting to read and he's been through some tough stuff and he's still here. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of bringing me positive energy now, but before it was bad and negative. And, I don't want that to be the poster board of you know what I'm saying, of Jawaun Daniels, he went through that because I've been through a lot besides that. But, I understand, I do understand going through that situation and then ending up where I'm at right now. It's that's not something that's done every day. So I just willing to accept it and, tell my story, keep it pushing and hopefully inspire others.
And the crazy thing you said too was about the injury, and this is something that I think some guys started to realize at times too, that injuries, as you said, was honestly maybe one of the best things that's happened to you. It allows you to develop, allows you to mature, watch the game from almost a coach's standpoint for a little bit. But take us to that, couldn't have been easy. Obviously, you've gone through all the stuff we already discussed, and then you come through to college, you finally make it here, and you get hurt. Just how'd you handle that?
I'm probably be honest, I didn't handle it the best way. I really was blaming. I was just blaming everybody except for trusting the process. You know what I'm saying? I felt like I shouldn't have been out there that early after sitting those just a short amount of games. I feel like my red shirt processing wasn't going the right way. They was taking too long with it. So I was kind of a moody person and I was not really. I wasn't really engaged with the team. To be honest, it kind of messed me up mentally. It took a big toll on me because I just felt like I worked so hard. I was starting to get hurt in practice. Literally the day before the first game of the season, it's bro, come on. Literally before the first game of the season to twist my ankle, I was just mentally I wasn't there until the new year. Once the new year came. And I kind of a couple weeks into January, I took the boot off and I started I started on machines instead of doing straight my own weight workouts on my ankle and stuff. I started doing machine squats and machine workouts instead of doing it naturally and building my muscle back up in my ankles and it started working out.
And then you come into this year, as you said, you lose the scholarship and you come out and you lead the team in points, lead them in rebounds. You make all conference second team. You dropped multiple 30-point games this year. I mean, it was an incredible year for you. How was this year? Just take us through this year in general. Like, what's your thoughts on it? Both personally, I mean, obviously you guys want to go to the tournament, all that, but personally, look at your year you just had. What's your thoughts on it?
Um, I don't even question this year. I don't question nothing that happened because I feel like I worked for it. Like in the most humblest way possible. Like I feel like I earned this. Bro, like Zach, I put in so much work, so much overtime during the quarantine last year, building my leg back up, building my ankle back up. I twisted my other ankle. I wound up spraining my other ankle, and it's so crazy. We went right into quarantine, a shutdown, but I was in my 90-day period, so I didn't have to quarantine. So I was able to work out for the 10 days that they was off. So it was just like everything was happening in my favor. So I was just like, I kind of started it's crazy. Like I started envisioning like all of this stuff happening because it's just like, yo, there's no way I'm going to twist my ankle before the Texas Southern game, and then boom, we get a shutdown, and now I have extra time to prepare to like give my best performances. Like all of this stuff is happening for a reason. Like there's no way this is happening. Like this is not like happening for a reason. Like you're 13-0. At that time, we was like I said, 8 or 9-0. I'm like you're 9-0 in conference, and you and Gonzaga is the only undefeated teams in conference play for a reason. Like everything I started just realizing everything was for a reason and just like accepting the fact, like, to be honest, I didn't even really know I was capable of all of that stuff until like Texas Southern game. It was more of like just like I don't know. I was playing timid because I was like, I'm a very unselfish player, and then I just like just snapped. I'm like, bro, it's like 12 games left. Like you're alpha. Like you've been working hard for this. Like just go out there every day and just go hoop. Like I don't know. Like and then it's just last 12 games. I was already having a good season before that. We beat Evansville. We got a non-conference win, a dog fight with Little Rock, Arkansas. Was fighting with a fight with Louisville. Like it's averaging like at that point I was averaging like 11 points before like 14 games ago. Sorry, averaging like 11. Then after that first conference game, like after non-conference, like I just like once we went in the conference, I was just like, it's time. Like I gotta go. Like I gotta go. Like you work for this. Like this is what you here for. Like you waking the nation up. People are starting to get on notice. Like just go after it. Go try to get everything you can get. Like and once I put that in my head, like I just became a monster. And I still got that right now. Like I'm not done. Like I'm still hungry. Like it's crazy because my people's is telling me like take some time off, but like I want to go work out tonight, and they telling me like I'm tripping. Like they're telling me like yo, just 2 more days. Like you just played like 2 days ago. Like you went through a long season. But I'm trying to go work out tonight. Like it's just amazing, bro. I ain't gonna lie. I'm just blessed like that I had the opportunity to do this. Like thank my coaching staff, like because they kind of took a shot too. Like even though we wasn't seeing eye to eye in the beginning, but it worked in both of our favor. Like one game away from the big dance. Like so, I can't be more happy.
Well, we do know you still have another year of eligibility, but you also have the dreams of playing professionally down the road too. So ultimately, look down the future now. What does Jawaun Daniels want? What do you want for the future? What's in store for you? Like, take us through your dreams, both on the court, off the court. Like, what are you looking forward to for the rest of your life, basically?
NBA for sure. To become a professional basketball player. Like that is my ultimate goal. Like that is the goal I'm trying to achieve for next year. Like, yes, I am coming back to school. And of course, like I said, I'm still enrolled in Prairie View, but when that bridge cross, like whenever it's time to cross that bridge, I will. Like, and when it's time to sit at the table and end of the year discussions and everything, we'll talk about that. But as far as right now, like I'm a Prairie View Panther. Like I'm coming back to school, and I'm trying to make another run and try to make it to the NCAA tournament. Like that's my main ultimate goal right now. Like to come back to school, probably test the waters, like just to see if I can get a workout or two. If it's not even looking like it, hey, cool. Take my name out, just work out, get ready for the summer, and yeah, just Go NBA, bro. That's my goal, bro. I ain't gonna lie, NBA. Like, and if I don't make it to the NBA, pros overseas, I'm not one of them that'll be bummed if I don't make it to the NBA. But that is my ultimate goal. Like, I want to get into the NBA, like, and have a shot, like, for sure. Like,
Couple more things I want to touch up on before I let you go. One of which is you are a guard and you kind of have that modern day big guard we're talking about now. You're 6'8", you're still been growing. Like take us through this having a height advantage and kind of growing into becoming this big guard.
that I think like the last I feel like conference players when they really took advantage of that. Like not even non-conference when we played against the PWIs and the the when we played against Washington State, the 7-footers, Little Rock 7-footers, and I realized like the advantages I had of like bringing them out and really stretching the floor and how that helped my team. Like only me, because like I said, like I'm not an individual guy, so like seeing like how much I spread the floor and opening things up for my other teammates, like it really let me like realize the advantage that I had on the court, like being 6'8", being able to put on the floor for 2 to 3 dribbles, 1 to 2 dribbles to get to the rack, get it off the bounce and spot up. Like that's big. And they say like I'm the modern days, like I'm like a stretch four, like the modern day NBA stretch four, whatever. But I don't look on that. I just look at like right now, like how's like what advantages I could give my team on the court. And right now, my advantage is sitting in that corner, like spotting up, playing the four. If I got 6'9", 6'10", slow on their feet, taking them off the bounce, like 3 and D, I'm able to guard 1 through 5. So that's I just trying to like just pick them apart.
I know you're also a believer, you're a man of faith. Kind of discuss that and how God's helped get you to the point you're at today.
Oh man, like I told you before, like a man who says he can and can't, it's true. Like God gives you the increase. Like in anything that you do, like I ask God to give me the increase to like pass the finish line and whatever it is, a test, uh, uh, a free throw, a driver's test, anything, bro. I always ask God just to give me the increase because without Him, we'll be nothing. Like for sure. So I always ask Him to give me the increase in everything I do, bro. Like in everything I do, because without Him, I won't be here today. So for sure, like I'm big on that.
And you've had all these things we've talked about so far, but when would you say was the moment that you really found God the most? When was he kind of showing up the most in your life? And when did you really start trusting in God and really start that bond with him?
That ankle injury, because that was but before like my case and my ankle injury when I first got hurt last year was my lowest points of my life. So those were like the 2 points where I was just like I was checked out of it mentally. So I didn't that's when I really started like, yo, bro, I gotta pray. And then like of course, obviously I never stopped praying, but like that's when I really was just like everything happens for a reason. Just pray to God and you're gonna figure it out. Like, and that's when I really just like you made it here, like this far, like just keep him with you and you're gonna be straight. Like so that's when I really picked it up.
Amen, man. Well, one final thing for you. I'd like wrapping up discussing your legacy, and you obviously have a great story so far. It's nowhere near complete yet, though. But when you are done, when the story is complete, you're step away from the game of basketball someday. What do you ultimately want to be remembered for what you achieved both on and off the court?
On the court, basically just how hard I play every game I play, like it's my last. Leave it out there, kind of more of like Jimmy Butler mindset, like just playing my all, just leaving it all out there. And off the court, just like I said, like I didn't even really start yet. Like I'm trying to be a big help to my community. Like I'm trying to do like fundraisers. Like I can't really tell you too much, right? I'm not saying like it's stuff that's in the works, but basically meaning like I can't like tell you off the top of my head right now because there's just so much that I want to do. Like, but off the court, I want to be remembered for way more than just basketball. Like I want to be like like an entrepreneur. I want to like build buildings. I want to get homeless buildings. I want to do everything, bro. Like I ain't gonna lie. Like I just want to do everything that just help the people that have like the less fortunate. Anything that help the less fortunate, that's what I want to get my hands into. Coat drives. I just want to be remembered as somebody that always looked to help the next person, bro. Like literally, like that's all I want to do. Like, that's all I want to do. Write a book, tell my story, and just help people, help the homeless, help people that don't have, just help. That's it. That's the only thing I could think of, really.
Absolutely, man. Well, I definitely appreciate you taking time to come on today, my man. And I'm excited to see what God got next for you, man.
Appreciate you, Zach. Thanks for having me, bro. See you, bro.
All right, sounds good, man. Y'all welcome on, man. God bless.
All right, bro. You too, bro. God bless, bro.